Howdy friends, welcome to the Eclectic Sam YouTube channel and welcome to my eclectic corner of YouTube, where I predominantly talk about eBay reselling and reselling in general, but from time to time we may go on a little trip, we may talk about history or things that I collect and all other things about my eclectic life. Before we get started, you see down below that subscribe button? Doesn't cost you a thing. Go ahead and hit that. It'll help me out. Plus, it'll give you the ability to see what's coming in the future. And I promise you, we've got some good stuff coming in the future. Today, I thought I'd do another one of my What Sold videos. Sales have been picking up here recently because I've been working a little bit harder on eBay selling as much as I can. I've been listing about 10 items a day, every day, which normally works out to about, I've noticed from selling on eBay since 1999 that you usually will sell about 30% of what you list. So with me, I list 10 items a day, so I'm selling about 3 or 4 items a day, average. Some days it'll be less, some days it's more, but that's what I'm doing. Not saying that's what you would do, but that's what I've seen in the past. But let me show you some of the 20 recent items that I've sold. Some of them are doozies. First thing was a flannel, or a fleece, I'm sorry, not flannel, a fleece country clothing company brand, little jacket. It had bears on it and everything. Not a brand that I normally buy, but anytime I see a fleece jacket that has animals on it, you see them with like wolves on them or horses and all, always buy those because those dudes sell well. This one sold, I took a best offer of $16, I'm sorry, it was on sale for $16.61 plus shipping. Next up is a Coca-Cola advertising pocket knife. Coca-Cola over the years has done several different advertising pocket knives, and they sell well. Well, anything with Coca-Cola sells well. But this was a vintage colonial brand pocket knife, and it was kind of a rare version with the pearl white on it. Now, the advertising on it was actually just a sticker, believe it or not. But this knife sold for $23.79 at a sale that I had. Recently did a sale of, I believe it was like 20% off of everything, just to boost up some sales for the weekend. Next up is another, that knife I actually got from a lot of items that my dad gave me. The jacket, I paid $1 for it on the dollar rack at my local thrift store. Next up is a Solido brand die-cast truck. It was a Budweiser truck, and it sold for $19.98 on sale with shipping, and that's plus shipping. And I believe I paid about $3 for that in a lot of die-cast cars that I recently bought. Next up, let me give you a little backstory and history here. This next item was a manual, or a book about specific cars and car parts. I used to work for a company that sold 67 to 69 Camaro parts. That's it. 67 to 69, the first generation Camaros. I worked there for 14 years. That was the career that I had before I had to go on disability. But one thing that I learned over the years working there from management, I did a lot of technical assistance where I helped customers with parts and working on their car. One thing that the management always instilled in us is use your resources. They did not like us coming to them asking simple questions, because they gave us all the resources to answer those simple questions. And it makes sense. Why waste time? Because you're wasting the company's time and the customer's time. And you can actually apply that with your reselling. So many times I see on these Facebook groups and so forth, people commenting, hey, how much is this worth? What's this worth? What can I do to do this? Well, did you use all your resources? Google is the number one resource for anybody nowadays. You can find out anything correct on Google. But also your other resources, like going on eBay and seeing what the past sales were for something. Or also WorthPoint. WorthPoint is a good website. It does have a monthly fee, but they keep backlogs of sales, not just on eBay, but all auctions in general. That's a good example of why you should use your resources. It helps you out, helps you learn, and you're going to retain that information better than just asking somebody and trying to cheat out on getting the answer. But with that said, I sold one of my previous resources from when I worked at that company. I actually bought a bunch of the books myself to keep in collection once I retired, or once I went on disability. And I'm just not interested in those cards anymore, so I'm selling some of them off, and some of them are discontinued and worth a good bit. This one was Camaro Untold Secrets. Very good book about prototype history and racing and Camaros and so forth. And that one sold on sale for $50.99. I probably had about $18 on it when I bought it back then. Of course I got my employee discount on it and everything. And that one's discontinued. That's why it sold for so much. Next up is another manual. Back when I had a Chevelle, this was the manual they used to work on the car. And this was a Haynes manual for Chevelles. It sold for $16.99 with free shipping. And Haynes and Chilton manuals are two good car manuals to look out for when you're out at thrift stores or at yard sales and so forth, because they don't actually print them anymore. Most of it's online. But us old redneck mechanics like to have something physical in our hand to flip through. So they still sell well, and some of them sell more for what they used to new. Next up is a very good sale. It was a M-1951 or M151 fishtail parka, military parka with a fur hood. It did not have the liner in it, so it was just the parka with the hood. And it sold on a sale at $172.12 with free shipping. It is kind of heavy, but I don't think it costs more than about $15 to ship. But $172. And what this was my dad was in an auction and saw that there was a box full of military clothes. Nobody was bidding on it. So he paid, I believe he said $15 for the box. And we started going through it. And it wasn't just common military clothes like BDUs or, like uniforms. It was rare stuff like this parka and some other jackets and so forth. So always look at military stuff. The common uniforms, like camouflage uniforms, don't sell for as much. But the rare stuff like odd jackets or odd uniform pieces do sell for a lot of money. Helmets and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. Next up, from my Civil War book lot that I bought, have about $1 a piece into them. This was Round Shot and Rammers, an introduction to muzzle loading. The old cannons were muzzle loaded, where they basically packed the gunpowder in and the cannonball. And this one sold for $11.04 on sale. And free shipping. Of course, it went by media mail, so shipping wasn't much. Next is another new genre of items that I'm telling you about. is magazines, especially vintage magazines. People do collect them. This is a Vintage Monsters of Filmland magazine. Old monster magazines or horror movie magazines have a real big following. This one sold on sale for $15.29 plus shipping. Now, keep in mind, magazines, even though they're media, cannot go by media mail because they have advertising on it. Anything that has advertisements on it is not considered media in the Postal Service's mind. So you have to send that. This one went first class, and it didn't cost very much to ship one single magazine. Next up, another personal manual of mine back when I was working on my 1981 Camaro. This wasn't from when I worked at the First Generation Company, but when I was in high school. This manual sold for $16.14 with free shipping. Next up, I always talk about when you're going through the thrift stores, look at the toys, the little bags of toys that have multiple toys in them. Usually they're $2 or $3 for the bags. Look at them and see what's in them, because there can be some good money that they're missing in those. This was a Kenner's Batman Bane character, sold for $8.99 with free shipping. Only cost a couple of bucks to ship. Would have sold for more, but it did have some parts missing from it. So, but it was still a good deal because I probably only had about 50 cents into it. Another item that I'm selling a lot of from the classic car parts lots that I bought recently is a V173 PCV valve, sold for $9.99. And I have 18 cents a piece in those. Yes, 18 cents. So that's good money. Matchbox car we sold here is a refuse disposal truck or garbage truck. Sold for $9.99. It's a little Matchbox car. Got that out of one of the little baggies that I told you about from the thrift store. I had probably 50 cents into that one. Next up is a military patch, hat patch. It was a F-16 light, Falcon airplane on the patch. It says U.S. Air Force. Sold for $8.99 with free shipping. And got those free from Dad. He was not going to sell those anymore in his store. Next up, we have a New Ray brand die-cast car. 1957 Pontiac Bonneville convertible, sold for $11.99 plus shipping, and that's the 1/43 scale, so it's probably about that big. Get paid about $3 in that when I bought a collection. Next, we have a baseball card. It was a Bowman Chrome Draft Refractor of Cliff Lee for $13.49. plus shipping. And I got that in a lot of baseball card lot that I got, and I think I had about 49 cents a piece in those cards. Next was one of my duds. I'd like to tell you about the duds as much as I do the good sales. This is a Spalding Top Flight brand polo shirt, gray polo shirt, and this has actually been in my eBay store for about 3 years. I bought it back when I first started getting into clothes, and I didn't know a thing about clothes. So stay away from this brand. It was $8.99 plus shipping, so I probably broke even with that. Next up, we sold a Derek Anderson basketball card. Sold for $4.91 plus shipping. And that came from one of the lots that I bought. I had about 49 cents in those. Another baseball card from my personal collection was 2003 Fleer Hideki Matsui, and it sold for $2.79 plus shipping. Another PCV valve sold for $9.99. free shipping. And like I said, I had 18 cents in those. And my last item in this little video is another one of those manuals from back when I bought from the company that I worked for. This was one of the real important manuals that we kept at our desk back then, because they had a lot of information about Z28s, in particular for the 67 and 68 years. And it just recently went discontinued, but it's a real popular book. So once it goes discontinued, they shoot up in value. This one was the definitive fact book, and it sold for $159.99 with free shipping. And that's crazy to me, because I used to sell these every day for like $22. So back when I worked at that company, not me personally selling them, but I sold them for that company. So that's a bit crazy right there. But that's everything in this video that I'm going to tell you about that's sold. Been pretty happy with the sales lately, like I've said. And I got a real good video that I'm working on right now for you of a large lot. Well, it's not real large, but a lot of NOS new old stock toys that I bought. Some pretty valuable ones in it. I should have that done by the end of this week or the weekend. I'll post it up. But I hope you're enjoying all my videos, and like I said, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And as always, comment down below any suggestions, questions, or anything like that. But until next time, my friends, I love you. Bye.